There's a massive, and I mean chaotic, shift happening in the software industry right now. We're talking about a level of disruption that is sending these huge shockwaves through the entire market. So let's dive into what's happening, why it's happening, and what it all means for the future of code itself. To really get the scale of this, you just have to rewind the clock 12 months. Just 1 year ago, this idea of vibe coding, where you basically just tell an AI the vibe of the app you want and it builds it, that was seen as this kind of fun, quirky concept. It was for hobbyists, right? Not for serious work. Well, fast forward to today, and a product that's built on that very idea is a multi-billion-dollar business, and it is totally shaking up the software industry. The speed is just staggering. So what kicked off this latest shockwave? Well, it all starts with the first birthday of a really powerful new AI coding assistant. Let's take a look at the catalyst here. Anthropic's Claude Code. Okay, just let that number sink in for a second. $2.5 billion. That's the annual recurring revenue, the ARR, for a single product that literally just turned 1 year old. This is not some little side project. This has completely changed the game for Anthropic as a company. Now, this is where it gets really fascinating, because this slide shows you exactly where all that money is coming from. Just look at that breakdown. Almost half, 48% of all calls to Anthropic's API are for software engineering. So it's not just a use case, it is the single biggest, most dominant driver of their entire business. And it's not even a close race. This right here proves that AI coding isn't some niche experiment anymore. No, it's the main event. And this quote from one of Anthropic's own developers, it just perfectly illustrates how powerful this thing is. It spreads so fast inside their own company that the CEO himself was apparently asking, hey, are we forcing our engineers to use this? What's going on? And the answer was, nope. They were just voting with their feet because the tool was just that good. All right, so when an explosion this big happens, it's going to create some ripples, right? And the very first major consequence of this new coding power was this chaotic and, frankly, totally irrational reaction from the stock market.
So just to set the stage here, the wider software market has been getting hammered for a while now. But as you can see, cybersecurity stocks were kind of insulated from it all. I mean, they were down, sure, but only about half as much as other software companies. They were seen as the safe haven in the storm. That is, until last Friday.
The day after Anthropic announced a new security feature for Claude Code, this happened. A mini flash crash. These stocks that were supposed to be the resilient ones, the high flyers, they were suddenly just decimated in a single day of trading. We're talking CrowdStrike down 8%, Okta down 9%, Cloudflare down 7%. The market completely panicked. But here's the kicker, here's the crucial point. The panic was based on a complete and total misunderstanding. Anthropic's new tool, it helps developers find security bugs in their own code internally. The companies that crashed, they secure external things, like protecting customer websites from cyber attacks or handling user logins with two-factor authentication. They're not even in the same ballpark. They don't directly compete at all. And yeah, this quote from a tech lead over at Cloudflare just sums up how absurd the whole thing was. Fungible is just a fancy word for interchangeable. And he's basically pointing out that investors were treating all security software as if it's the exact same thing, even when they do totally different jobs. The real takeaway here? The market's reaction was pure emotion, not based on substance. Okay, so the market reacts, and then what happens next? The competition reacts. And this is what sets off a full-blown AI arms race. Now, OpenAI is getting ready to launch its counterwave. As competitors like Anthropic start making these huge gains, all the pressure is suddenly on OpenAI. And it looks like their answer is a powerful new model with the internal code name Garlic. This is supposedly the result of Sam Altman's big code red push that started late last year, and the rumors are absolutely swirling that it's about to drop. And let me tell you, the hype is immense. This quote from an AI engineer really captures what people are expecting. They're not talking about a small update here. No, they're talking about another massive, industry-shaking leap in capability. Something on the same level as the jump from GPT-3 to GPT-4. Everybody is preparing for another big moment. But this arms race, this whole quest for AI supremacy, it has a dark side. Let's shift gears and look at the staggering financial reality behind all of this. The enormous, truly eye-watering gamble that OpenAI is taking. So this is the prize that OpenAI is chasing. They are forecasting over $282 billion in revenue by the year 2030. To put that in perspective, that would put them ahead of where Meta is today. It's an incredibly ambitious number that they're selling to their investors.
But now, look at this number. To get that massive revenue, OpenAI is forecasting a total cash burn of $665 billion over just the next 5 years. They are planning to spend nearly 2.5 times their huge revenue goal just to get there. It is a breathtakingly expensive bet.
So where is all that money going? Well, this table breaks it down. The costs just to run the models, what they call inference costs, are just soaring. But the real explosion, the real killer, is in training. They expect to spend $32 billion on training next year alone, and then they're going to double that to $65 billion just 2 years later. And all of this is squeezing their gross margins, which are actually, get this, declining over time. So let's bring all these threads together now. We've got these new, incredibly powerful AI coders. We've got an irrational, panicked market, and we've got an unbelievably expensive arms race. And this all leads to one fundamental, really existential question for the entire industry. This quote from Buco Capital just explains the new investor thinking perfectly. That big market sell-off, it wasn't really about Claude's specific security features. It was about a fundamental repricing of value in a world that's suddenly unstable. The core insight for investors is this: if the entire landscape can be totally upended in just 12 months, is any traditional software company really worth paying 25 times its revenue for? The market is starting to scream no. And that leaves us with this final, critical question. The ground is literally shifting beneath the entire tech industry. We've seen how a single AI tool can trigger a market panic, ignite an arms race with staggering costs, and force a complete reevaluation of what anything is worth. So, when an AI can do the work of a whole team of engineers, what does that mean for the value of every single software company out there? It's a question that I think we're all going to see answered very, very soon.